This is like take 87 because I can't get my words right. But real quick, I just wanted to say that I've started a new Discord. I talk about this more at the end of the video, but I know not everybody's going to watch until the very, very end. So I thought I'd put it at the beginning as well. But the idea is I want to build more of a community and connect with my viewers more. And this is not just a fitness-based Discord. There's going to be niches of all different kinds, whatever you guys really want. And it's going to be a lot of motivation, self-improvement, and just support. So if you guys are interested in connecting with me more and actually talking to me versus just watching me on a screen, just being a part of a community, I think it's going to be a fun time. Feel free to join. The link is in the description.
Today's video is going to be a little bit different. No workout today. I've had a lot on my mind lately that I've really wanted to put out there. I actually don't want to put it out there, but I've had this feeling like I'm supposed to put it out there, this urge to put it out there, if that makes sense. Lately, for the past few months, I've been struggling to figure out the purpose of my life, why I've gone through the things I've gone through in my life, and just overall why I'm here, why I'm supposed to be here, what I'm supposed to do with myself. I've just been feeling empty. I think I finally figured it out, and to start this off, I want to tell you guys my life story and how I got to where I'm at in life and how I became the person I am today. And I want to do this so you guys can understand me better, because personally for me, I feel like I see strangers and they kind of just spawn in, whether it's people online or people in real life. Sometimes I forget that everybody has a life and everybody has a story and things they've been through. So I want to put that out there so you guys can understand me better, and you know, the ultimate purpose being it might help somebody. Now I want to start off by saying that this is not a sob story. I'm not looking for pity. I'm not putting this out there to make people feel bad for me. In fact, I don't really want to put this out there at all. I've just had this urge that I'm supposed to because I feel like it could help someone. I'm a pretty closed off person, so this is actually pretty hard for me, but I don't really give a because I feel like it might do good for someone to hear my story. I'll say it one more time, this is not a sob story, so please do not take this the wrong way. And the reason I say that is because I've not had a happy life. I've not had a pretty life. People might see on social media that I'm here working out at one of the best gyms in the world, and it might look like my life has been all sunshine and rainbows, but I want to tell you guys where I came from and how I got here. So I have some notes written down on my phone to keep me on track. I'm going to try to keep this as natural as possible, but I don't want to miss anything, so I did write down some notes. I was born into a religious cult. From birth to about 6th grade, I grew up in this community. It was a small church in Northeast Ohio. It was a church and a school, and this community believed that everybody outside of it was a follower of Satan and a demon in a way. The members were God's only chosen, and there was to be no communication with the outside other than the necessities like grocery shopping or your job. Other than that, there was no communication, no friends, or anything outside of this cult. The community was very small. I think there was under 200 people in the whole thing. So that was my life growing up. That was what I was born into. That was all I knew from birth to 6th grade. The school had 12 kids in it. I had one kid in my class. He was my best friend, pretty much chosen for me because we were born at the same time. We grew up together in this community. You know, I didn't really have a choice, so he was my best friend. So essentially my friends were chosen for me. This is a problem because when you're developing as a child, you have to learn those social skills. You have to learn how to make friends. You have to pick your own friends. It's very important. It's how you learn to socialize. And if you know me today, I have a lot of social issues, and that's kind of where that stems from. I'm not putting any blame on my parents for raising me in this place. They did not know any better either. This was all that they knew. But we finally realized how fucked up this place was. It was actually my older brother. When he was around 18, he started to branch out a little bit and socialize with the outside world. And before long, he had made friends, and this was not okay with the community. The pastor or leader of this cult told my family and my parents that we had to cut him off. No communication with my older brother at all. This really kind of put us into reality, you know, of what this place was. And my family had a choice. It was either this community and this life or family. And my family decided it was time to get out, and we started to realize how fucked up this place was. My family, including me, left in the 6th grade. That place was my life. I lost everything and everyone I ever knew, and we were completely dead to them. All communication with every friend that we had ever made was completely cut off. They treated us like we never existed, They did not talk to us at all, not a text, not a phone call. I went to a new school in 7th grade, extremely hurt by this, overweight and socially awkward due to never learning how to make my own friends. And this is a bad combination for middle school. I was instantly bullied for being weird and overweight. I made no friends, and my life was all pain at that point. I constantly cried in class. My teachers wondered what was wrong with me, and all the kids made fun of me for being the fucking weirdo. And that's how pretty much the extent of my middle school went. I remember my life for 7th and 8th grade was waking up in the morning, crying in the morning and on the way to school, suffering through school, and then on the way home, I would tell my mom that I didn't want to be here anymore and I didn't want to live anymore. And that was literally the extent of my middle school. In 9th grade, since middle school didn't go good, my mom decided to move me into a new high school as another try, another start. And it was exactly the same, but now the bullying was way worse. I still had no friends and I was still overweight. Growing up this way made me scared and cold and filled with hatred. I knew literally nothing but pain at this point in my life. I lost everything and everyone in my early life, and then after that, I was just hurt by everyone in my life. So I knew nothing but pain. And I remember when I finally became conscious of being overweight. This isn't really going to be a fitness video, but around 9th or 10th grade, I started to become conscious of my own weight because kids would pick on me and make fun of me. They would like poke at my fat, and they'd make fun of me for it and say things like, I remember this one time in particular, I was jumping on a trampoline, and this other kid said like, your man boobs are bouncing. I don't know about anyone else who was overweight as a kid, but I was not conscious of it and not aware of it until eventually I was. I remember one day in specific, after a shower, I looked in the mirror and it was like I was looking through, it was like I just put on glasses for the first time. I hated what I saw. I remember crying and tearing at myself that night. And that's when I really became conscious of being overweight. And at that point, I just thought it was the way it was. I didn't know anything about fitness. I just thought that's how I was built, and I remember always being jealous of that one jacked kid in like 9th or 10th grade who was popular and had all the friends, and I was just the chubby weirdo. I didn't know anything about fitness at that time, but I did know that running equaled skinny. So every day after school, I would run around the high school for miles, as well as going home and just doing endless sit-ups. Hundreds of them every day after school. Didn't know why. I knew that sit-ups and running equaled skinny. And around the same time, I got my first job as a landscaper. So on top of the running and the sit-ups, I was out doing hard labor for my job. And I quickly became skinny fast. I did not look good at the time. I just kind of thinned out. I just, I wasn't lifting or anything. I just kind of got skinny fat. And that was the start to my fitness journey around 15 or 16 years old. Anyways, when I was a junior in high school, I started to get involved in the wrong crowd. I started to smoke weed and I was friends with the druggies. I quickly became hooked to weed because it was like an escape from the reality I hated. When I was 17, I got a new job, and now this, I have to be a little bit careful about what I say. But at this new job, there was a general manager, and he was kind of like a baller to me. He was in his late 20s, I think. He drove a Corvette. He was like wearing chains and stuff. And in my eyes, he was like, that guy's cool. I befriended him, and I quickly found out that he was a drug dealer. And one day, he told me that they needed a guy for Elyria, Ohio, which was the town I grew up in. At this point in my life, having no friends or anything, I said sure, because I just wanted to be a part of something, a part of anything. I just wanted someone or some friend or something. So he invited me to this address to pick up a bunch of weed for me to sell. And I went there, and I remember walking in and realizing that this was not like high school shit. It was all adults, and this was a straight up trap house. I remember there were people passed out everywhere. I remember seeing guns. It just smelled awful, and I was just terrified. I walked in there to like get the weed. He gave me an ounce to start with, and I remember when I reached out to like grab it from him, I was like visibly shaking really fucking bad. Anyways, after I think it was a couple months, I ended up wanting to get out of that. I got into some fights with some of the people there. And now this next part, I promised myself I would never speak about this again, but I want to put my story out there. I'm not going to tell in full detail, but I'll summarize it. Wanting to get out did not go well. Like I said, this was not a game, this was not high school shit. And on October 24th of 2017, I almost lost my life. I got involved in some violence, I endangered my family, and I still have scars to remind me to this day that will never go away. And that was one of the darkest days of my life, and I just want to apologize to my parents and my family for putting them through that. But yeah, the school that I was going to ended up finding out that I was pretty much dealing drugs to all the other high school druggies, and I was suspended. Somehow I wasn't expelled, they just suspended me for 2 weeks. And naturally, the whole entire school, because things spread, also found out about everything that had happened. It was more than just, you know, a little bit of weed. They found out about everything I was involved in. And now all of a sudden, the whole entire high school, I was the most popular kid in high school. Not in the way you want to be. I was the fuck up. Everyone was always looking at me when I got back to school. All eyes were on me. I was the fuck up. I had no future. And yeah, around this time, I was a fucking psychopath. I was angry at the world. I was hurt. I was alone. I was traumatized. All I had ever known in my life was pain. And by psychopath, I mean like I was fucking crazy. I was not mentally stable. I just remember every night, like I'd sneak out of the fucking house and go to the woods and just scream in the woods. Like I was a psychopath. I would just punch walls until my like knuckles would bleed. And around this time, I was still 17, and this is when I started lifting. I got into the high school gym, as well as my dad had some weights in the basement. And this was really like my way of just letting out anger. I didn't know what I was doing. I was probably just doing curls for the most part. I remember I was doing a lot of curls and a lot of back exercises for some reason. I don't know why, but yeah, that's how the remainder of my high school basically went. I tried to play baseball a little bit, but I sucked at that. I pretty much sucked at everything I tried, except I was just lifting weights. Anyways, when I graduated, I ended up making a new friend. And this friend changed my life forever. He was in a previous video. You guys know Brian. I became friends with Brian, and he introduced me to his friend group. And those were the first real like friends, the first time I ever had like a community or friends in my entire life. And this was right around the time I graduated high school. And with that friend group, they were all in college and stuff like that. And I started partying way too fucking hard and got into a lot of alcohol and drugs. Not necessarily addiction, it was mostly just a party thing, like for fun. But pretty much weekly, every single weekend, I was doing copious amounts of party drugs. Around this time, I started dating a girl. We got very, very close, and pretty much life carried on from about 18 to 19, just partying and spending time with this girl and getting close with her. Summer of 2019, about a year later, I moved from Ohio to Minnesota to work on a resort, and it was supposed to be a fun summer job. The partying and the drugs and the alcohol became extreme when I got there. The relationship I had with this girl was now long distance and became extremely toxic. The girl was my everything. We'd planned our future together. We were planning to like move in together when I got back. And, you know, I didn't really have any future for myself or any plans for myself. All I knew is that I was trying to have a great fucking time, and I had this girl as a future. But like I said, it became extremely toxic to the point of like it was pretty emotionally abusive. We were both saying terrible things to each other, and the drugs turned from, you know, a fun time to an escape. And I started to abuse drugs and alcohol almost nightly when I was at this summer job in Minnesota, to just kind of escape from the reality that I was living again. Honestly, looking back on it, I'm surprised I lived through a lot of the shit I did. You know, I was doing, just to give you guys an example, I was doing Xanax, mixing it with alcohol, smoking weed, mixing it with psychedelics. I was just doing fucking ridiculous things, and I don't know how I'm alive through that. Anyways, in August, my family, who lived in Ohio and I was in Minnesota, came to Minnesota to vacation on that resort. Around this time, I was really down bad, so I started staying with my parents while they were in town, because they didn't know how bad it was, but they knew it was pretty bad. So they just wanted to comfort me, so I stayed with them while they were on the resort instead of in my own place. August 10th, 2019 was the darkest night of my life. My parents were going out to dinner one night, and they told me to just stay at the house with my older brother. After they left, I popped a couple pills, I grabbed a rope and a bottle of vodka, and I told my brother I was gonna go for a walk. I put the rope in my hoodie pocket, and I put the vodka in a water bottle, so it would just look like I had a bottle of water. And I ended up hopping in my car. I drove to a nearby playground while chugging the bottle of vodka, and when I got there, I sat in my car, finished off the vodka, and I remember I was just reading texts from that girl telling me how much of a fuck up I was. And I had no money, a fucked up life, terrible mental issues, a bad drug addiction, and the only future I had was that girl who now wanted nothing to do with me. I was a failure. I had absolutely nothing. I sent a text to my parents telling them how much I loved them, and they immediately began calling me and texting me, but I just ignored them because I was ready. And around 11 p.m. on August 10th of 2019, I attempted to take my own life. I was given a second chance when the rope came untied, and thank God I was blackout drunk because I couldn't tie a knot, otherwise I would not be telling this story right now. I just remember laying on the ground, just crying, just completely fucked up, and I had a choice at that moment. I could either try again or take the second chance that I had been given, and I decided to take the second chance. I don't know why, but I did. And I got in my car, and I didn't know what to do at that point. My parents were just frantically calling me and texting me. There was actually quite a bit of people. Just my entire family was just calling me and texting me, "Where are you?" Stuff like that. And I didn't know what to do in the moment, so I drove to a super close hospital. I remember it was like 2 minutes away. I was so fucked up. It's a miracle I made it there. But yeah, I didn't know what to do, so I just drove to the hospital, and I didn't even make it into the hospital. I couldn't make it through the parking lot. And that's where my parents found me, in the parking lot of the hospital, because I had my location shared with my mom at the time, and she found me there in the hospital parking lot with a rope, extremely fucked up. Mom, I don't know if you're watching this, but I'm sorry that I put you through that. Anyways, I moved back to Ohio with my parents, and the healing process was not quick. I was in really bad shape for a long time, still drinking, and I was just, for a couple months, I did nothing but sit in my room and just get drunk all the fucking time. I survived that night, but I still did not want to be here, so I was just every single day getting wasted in my room. That's all I did. I would sleep, and when I'd wake up, I'd immediately drink, and then I'd eventually pass out and wake up, and it was just like this for a couple months. Eventually, I kind of realized I had to get back on my feet, and eventually the pain started to wear off because nothing lasts forever. And to get back on my feet, I got a job at Chick-fil-A. That job helped me so much. It just gave me something to do, and that's what I really needed. I just needed something to occupy my mind and just something to keep me busy and get me up and moving again. So I got that job, and it helped me so much. And for some reason, everybody that I worked with at that job loved me. I was the most popular person there. I was extremely fucked up and broken, but everyone just was my friend. And I just remember everyone just loved me at that job. This helped me so much. Like, you don't understand. If anyone from that old job is watching this video, Thank you so much. But around this time, I started to get back into the gym, and that's when I really started loving training. This was around 2020, and that's when I started to take my shit seriously. I started to research how to actually train. I started to track my progress and eat right, and around that same time now, I was going to the gym and I was working a job and I had friends and I was starting to feel really good, and I kind of figured out, okay, what's the next step? And I started to study to get my real estate license. And the rest is kind of history. I was in real estate. I ended up getting my real estate license and I did pretty well in that field, but it really wasn't what I liked doing. I did that until, well, you guys know, 2023. That's kind of where I started my YouTube videos, so that's where the story leaves off. But I continued training in the gym, and over time, I just fell so much in love with training and stuff. And also, that's where the videography and the photography came in. That was just a hobby for a long time, and you guys know the rest. Eventually, I decided to pursue that, and as well as the gym and fitness full time, and I kind of left real estate. I got into real estate because I just figured I needed a grown-up career, an adult career, and over time, I didn't really like it and wanted to chase what I love. So now I'm here. A lot of healing happened from around 2020 to now, and that's my story. You know, I tell you guys this because I really feel like putting my story out there might be able to help someone. And circling back to what I talked about at the beginning of this video, not having any purpose. You know, for the past couple months, I've really been trying to figure out my purpose and figure out why I've had to go through all this shit. And I've just been feeling so meaningless, like I'm providing no value to the world. And, you know, the one thing that really makes me feel fulfilled is when someone sends me a DM on Instagram or something and they just tell me how much I've helped them and inspired them. And you know, there's no better feeling than that. And that's when it started to click for me. I kind of took a break from social media and I wasn't really going on social media much at all, just these past couple weeks. And I remember I did, and I had this DM from this kid, and he said, "I've really missed seeing your posts. You're my biggest inspiration. Please never stop doing what you do." And that's when it clicked. I believe that I was put through all of that shit in my life, all of the loneliness, the drug abuse, the violence, the suicide attempts, all of the depression, the mental issues. I believe that I was put through all of it so I can help other people if they're going through the same thing. You know, I believe that I was put here so I can be a helping hand to those in need. There's nothing that makes me feel more fulfilled than just helping someone and knowing that I made somebody else's life better. And I don't really know how I became this way of wanting to help people so much, because for the longest time I was just filled with so much hate and I hated everyone. And all of a sudden, I just had this drastic switch where now I just want to help as many people as I can. That's pretty much my story. And the reason I'm telling you this is because if you are going through something, anything, whether it's addiction, whether it's depression, mental issues, bullying, if you guys are going through anything and you feel like you are trapped in a hell that's never going to end, because I know that feeling all too well. Whenever you're going through one of these things, you feel like you're just stuck and it's never going to end. I want you to know that it does get better and it does end, and I am living proof of that. I know I'm far from perfect, but the one thing I can do is help people get through similar situations. I just want to help as many people as I can now, because nobody should have to go through some of the stuff that I've been through alone. I went through it all alone. The only people that were there for me, and I'm lucky to say this because some people out there don't even have this, the only people that were there for me was really my family, my parents. I'm so forever grateful for my mother. I put her through way too much shit, and Mom, I am so sorry for everything I put you through. But they were the only ones ever there for me. Nobody should have to do that. Nobody should have to go through any of this shit alone. So I believe that that's my purpose, is to be that helping hand, to be that friend. If you are going through anything that you feel like is never going to end and that you're never going to make it out of, just please keep going. don't give up. Eventually it does get better, as cliche as it sounds. And if you guys need a friend or someone to talk to and help you get through these things, that is what I'm here for. That is the reason that I've been through all of the fucking shit that I've been through in my life, is to help other people. I don't really care about anything else, but when I get a text or a DM from someone saying that I'm their inspiration, or like I'm helping them in some sort of way, like I've never felt a feeling like that. So moving forward, that is going to be my main goal with all of my social media, with this YouTube channel. And also I want to be more connected with you guys. I want to be reachable. I want to be someone that you can actually talk to and not just watch on a screen. So to do that, I've started a Discord, and the link is in the description below. If you guys need a friend, if you guys just need someone to rant to, someone to talk to, whatever it may be, feel free to join that Discord, and that's where you can reach me. I'm really going to put all of my focus now into helping as many people as I can, because that's what I believe I was put here to do. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you guys for listening. And again, just always remember, everything that you go through in life will make you stronger.